Aloha, and welcome back to another episode of the Variety Hour. Okay, so for fans of mine who have been watching my channel for a little bit, they know of a video idea that I do every once in a while called Aloha Recap. It's just basically where I take a bunch of stories that I kind of want to talk about but can't really make them into one video, like in and of itself. Kind of combine a few things I want to talk about into one, which is what this is. It's also a good time to kind of test out the waters here because I recently just gained a bunch of subscribers and new viewers from my Jimmy Snow video, and if you're one of those viewers, thank you very much for the support. I really was shocked that that video blew up as much as it did, but I'm very happy with that video. I'm, thrilled with the support it's gotten, and even the Scott Kramer one that I did recently also did really well, so thank you guys so much for that. Anyway, I have 3 different topics to cover in this video, and they're all kind of a different genre, kind of. The first one is more of a drama stuff, and the other 2 were more news associated. Okay, so just in case all of you don't care about each and every topic that I'm doing in this video, I put some timestamps in the description so you can click on that and skip around to whatever topic you want to see, and then, the outro and intro or whatever, just to, maybe if you don't care about Madden specifically, then you might want to skip that section, but enjoy. So, let's get into the drama one first, since that's what seems to be doing best on my channel. So, an actor by the name of Stephen Amell, most known for playing Arrow in the CW's Arrowverse, has got kicked off a plane for arguing with his wife. This is really weird because nobody knows what the fight was actually about, so I'm not here to comment on that. What I am here to say is, isn't it kind of weird to be that, like a public figure like that, and to get kicked off a flight for arguing? Like, either argue a little quieter or do it in private, you know what I mean? It's not that people never have a disagreement, obviously they do, and sometimes things can get heated or whatever, but like in a public scenario like that, especially when you're an actor with the fame of Stephen Amell, like that's not a good look, my guy. Don't do that. I don't have much to say on this topic as I don't have any insider information or anything, but it's very weird, and I've always thought, from an outsider at least, Amell has a very you look at him and you're like, oh yeah, he could be a guy that would, that would get kicked off a plane for yelling. And that's exactly what happened. I think it's very weird, and that's just the news. Hopefully they're fine, and I wish no ill will on anyone. It's just an interesting story to talk about, especially since I was a fan of the Arrowverse, and it's weird seeing him like that. That brings me to another topic of today's video, and this one's a little bit stupider somehow. The whole thing that's happening with Boba Fett. So I don't know if you guys are aware or are Star Wars fans, but recently Lego is doing a new set, and it features Boba Fett and his ship that he pilots. The name of the ship in Star Wars canon is Slave One. Anyway, what's weird is, on the Lego set, they've rebranded it to, like, Boba Fett ship or something. I don't really remember exactly what they rebranded it to, but I know that it wasn't Slave One. And everyone was, like, freaking out, because they're like, oh, it's Disney, and they're being all too liberal, or whatever. And, they were like, oh, they're just, being the corporate, and they're, cancel culture, and blah, blah, blah. What? First off, who cares? It's a starship on a fake, like, Star Wars isn't real, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the name of Boba Fett's ship is. Secondly, I don't think I've ever heard that before, and I've watched every Star Wars movie. I can't say 100% that it's not in any of the movies, but I didn't know the name of his ship. I just thought it was, I just called it Boba Fett's ship, which is what the Lego set, I'm pretty sure, did. So, I don't think a lot of people that are really even getting upset at this even knew that that was the name of his ship until all of this started happening. I think it was only a name in, like, the books and comics and, like, extended lore. And at that point, it's a movie, Lego is tying into the movie things, and if they don't mention it, what's really the point? I don't even think it was ever mentioned on Mandalorian. I might be wrong, but I don't remember his ship name being mentioned. Oh, and that reminds me, it brings me to the stupidest part of the story. They're not even changing the name. Chronologically, or canonly, whatever you want to say, they haven't changed the name at all. It's still Slave 1. The only thing that changed was the Lego set on the branding didn't use that name on the box. That's it. There's no, they didn't wipe comics from existence, or like the comics from canon like they did a few years ago. None of that ever happened. They just didn't put it on the Lego set. And I don't even think it was Disney. I think it was just Lego didn't put that on their thing. I'm like, yeah, why would they? First off. Secondly, it's not that marketable. You know what is marketable? Boba Fett. So put Boba Fett ship. Duh. I think people are just freaking out over nothing, and even if they do change the name in canon, really, who cares? I mean, it's like, that's what you're gonna get all worked up about? That? Really? Pick your fights better. Speaking of picking fights, hey EA. What the heck? So I don't know how many of you guys know this, especially if you're new viewers, but I do watch football, and I'm a very big fan of sports video games in general. I do play other games, mostly, superhero games or, big open world ones, but I do play a lot of sports games just because I think they're interesting, especially in video game form. So I play a lot of that kind of thing, and the NFL has an exclusive agreement with EA to make NFL simulation licensed games. So Madden has been the only football game since 2005. Anyway, last year's game got a lot of negative feedback because they didn't change anything, basically, like, especially in franchise mode. The mode that is specifically, become a coach or a GM and manage your team, or, and play through, multiple seasons or whatever, that mode. It's very bare bones, especially to what was even in Madden before. They stripped away a bunch of features a few years ago, like, I don't know, 5 or something, and never really put them back in the game, and it's a very basic mode. It's not very good compared to some of other sports games, so a lot of people were giving them negative feedback, especially after last year when they announced Madden 21, and their update page for franchise mode basically didn't exist. Like, they didn't touch it almost at all. So everyone was like, what the heck, this is one of the biggest modes in the game, and you're not touching it, and it got hashtag Fix Madden franchise mode trending on Twitter for multiple days, and eventually it also got the hashtag NFL Drop EA trending on Twitter for a couple days. So this year they put out the first trailer of Madden. Looked really bad because they didn't really show anything new. It was just basically the exact same game. However, the week after that they were like, hey, this is all the changes we made to franchise mode. And they did a specific video on their YouTube account about just what they did to franchise mode. And genuinely, it looks pretty interesting, their changes. Now, it's not a perfect mode yet by any means, and especially since it's EA, some of these features may be broken or, aren't as in-depth as they could be. But a lot of what is there now that they're building on is something that in the future could really be a big step up for the mode. They actually listened to criticism for once and are actually improving the mode, so maybe I should, buy it. Maybe this is, a good step forward. But here's the thing, I still have the Xbox One. I'm trying to get a PS5, but as most of you know, that's impossible. And I don't really want the new Xbox. It's not that I don't not like Xbox, but the Spider-Man games are exclusive to PlayStation, and I missed out on the PS4 one, so I want to play them. So that's why I want a PS5. But both of them have, either way, both of the new consoles have been hard to find, so it doesn't really matter which one I want. Anyway, when they announced the new features for franchise mode, it looks really good. I'm like, you know what? I might actually buy it this year. And then they did another one, like a week later, about gameplay specifically, like what they changed, on-field action. And it killed literally every ounce of like, ooh, I should buy this that was in me, because all of their things, they added some really cool ideas, at least, about like, home field advantage makes the player all squiggly, and I know that was in the NCAA games, but at least it's in Madden now, finally. Anyway, all of that stuff sounded really interesting until I played back the trailer and there was a little asterisk next to all of these things, and I looked at the bottom of the screen and it said PlayStation and Xbox Series X/S features only. why? I don't get it, because the momentum bar, for instance, was a thing that was in NCAA games on, like, the PS2 and GameCube. You know, it works slightly differently, but you can't tell me that it wouldn't work on the current gen, you know, Xbox One or PS4. It doesn't make much sense, especially since a lot of your player base doesn't have access to the new consoles. It's not that, you know, a lot of us don't want to get one. We do. It's just kind of impossible to do right now. So to lock, like, all of your new features behind a thing that, like, maybe 10-15% of your player base even has, that's a bad idea. And you add on top of that they didn't even update the PC version of it. And that's probably the most egregious one. Why would you not update the PC one? Those ones, especially if you have a good PC, can even sometimes be better than the consoles. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you made it all the way through. If not, I understand. Especially if you're not a sports gamer. That last topic was probably annoying. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please leave a comment down below, especially if you're a new viewer of my channel, new subscriber, whatever, and you found my Jimmy Snow video and want to see more from me. I don't know exactly what to do, because that video I know is very drama specific, and so is my one after that. And I do make drama content, but I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I do videos about superhero things and about TV shows or whatever, and if you guys are interested in that, I'll do some of those and sprinkle in the drama stuff. If you want just drama, let me know and I'll do a lot more of that. I'm open to whatever, but I just don't know what your guys' preferences are, so tell me please. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye!